going to YouTube? It's your boy Too Tough One, man. You rock with me and rock with y'all, man. We got a crazy story about 700 Marines being mobilized as California vows to sue the Trump administration. Yes, you heard that. Trump has sent the Marines, and it's finna get real. That like button, subscribe button for the dive straight into the video.
Sources tell CNN that more than 700 U.S. Marines have been mobilized to respond to protests in Los Angeles.
It's getting serious.
Turned violent over the weekend. One county official called last night, quote, probably one of the most volatile nights in the city's recent history. Police declared all of downtown Los Angeles, an area of about 5 square miles, an unlawful assembly area after a third night of protests turned violent. The Los Angeles police chief late last night saying, quote, this violence that I've seen is disgusting, unquote. Some of the protesters, or more accurately, rioters, shot commercial-grade fireworks at law enforcement officers. Others set self-driving cars on fire. CNN witnessed police using flashbangs and tear gas to disperse crowds. Police arrested 27 people just yesterday alone. All of this started on Friday. That's when Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, conducted workplace raids in L.A. The Department of Homeland Security said operations in L.A. last week resulted in the arrest of 118 undocumented immigrants, including 5 gang members and others with prior criminal histories of drug trafficking, assault, cruelty to children, domestic violence, robbery, and alien smuggling. The roots of this aggressive ICE activity last week may have been seen last month when top Trump aide Stephen Miller, sources tell CNN, demanded that immigration agents ramp up deportation efforts and seek to arrest 3,000 undocumented immigrants a day. 3,000, that's triple.
3,000 undocumented immigrants a day? Do you know how many? That is a crap load of people. That's a lot of people. 3,000? 3,000 undocumented. Let's just say you do that 7 days. That's 3 times 7. What's that? 21,000 people. Oh my gosh, that's insane.
The number of daily arrests from the early days of Trump's term. In response to the ICE action in LA on Friday, some protesters began gathering outside the Metropolitan Detention Center. But as day turned to night, things got out of hand, not only downtown, but about 10 miles east in Paramount, California. Now, law enforcement says that protesters moved in on them and officers used flashbangs to disperse the crowd. The FBI's Los Angeles field office announced a $50,000 reward for information on a man that the LAPD says assaulted an officer and damaged property. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass said ICE gave city officials no warnings of these raids, which made it difficult, if not impossible, to plan for quelling any spontaneous protests. Then on Saturday, President Trump took the rare, major step of deploying the California National Guard despite the objections of the Democratic governor of California, Gavin Newsom. This was the first time a president called in the National Guard.
Why was there an objection? I mean, they're destroying the city. They're setting cars on fire. They're attacking officers. Why is there an objection? Why? Can somebody comment down below why? Somebody let me know down. Somebody let me know why. Like that. It doesn't make sense.
Without a state's request or consent since Lyndon Johnson did it in 1965. President Trump yesterday told reporters that any violence against any law enforcement officers is unacceptable.
I have a little statement. They say, they spit, we hit. And I told them, nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military, which they do as a common thing.
Trump offended there by the notion of spitting on police officers,
yeah, that's crazy.
Military, while protesting immigration enforcement. He says that's not okay. We would be remiss if we did not point out that it was just 4 months ago that the very same president pardoned a different group for beating police officers while storming the U.S. Capitol to object to the 2020 election results. You will never hear Trump or top deputy Stephen Miller call that attack on January 6, 2021 an insurrection, But Stephen Miller did use that term to describe the protests in Los Angeles, calling it, quote, an insurrection against the laws and sovereignty of the United States. There are quite a few, shall we call them, evolving positions taken by Democrats and Republicans since a year ago, when some Democrats were urging President Biden to federalize the National Guard in Texas to stop that state's Republican governor's anti-immigration, illegal immigration efforts. And the woman who is now our Homeland Security Secretary, then South Dakota Governor Kristi Rome, took to MAGA media and to Twitter to say, quote, if Joe Biden federalizes the National Guard, that would be a direct attack on states' rights, unquote. But be that as it may, we are where we are here, and Republicans would argue that Democrats have played a role in all of this by not enforcing immigration laws for decades, setting the stage for President Trump to begin this aggressive pattern of deportations, which he ran and won on. A new CBS News poll taken before the ICE action in Los Angeles finds that 55% of the Americans polled approve of the goals of Trump's deportation program.
I can't lie, and I can see that because a lot of people who are born in America, grew up in America, you know, they go to work every day, can barely afford food, can barely afford housing, can barely afford to even raise their kids, depending on how much money you make. And then the government is taking out taxes, taking out our taxes, and then giving it to people who come over here. So, like, I understand it. I understand it. Now, I'm not saying all immigrants or all people who come from a different country or different places, I'm not saying they're all bad, but people have to pay their share. You know, how am I getting taxed and someone's working on the table and they not getting taxed and they getting all the bread and then sending it over? Come on now, make it make sense. And then with the USAID, they're sending millions of dollars overseas to help out people who are not even American citizens. So, yes, I can see that. And then what's really crazy, a lot of the people who are protesting and rioting about the situation right now, they voted for Trump. Majority, they voted for Trump. Trump's been saying that he wants to do this. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. And if you were against this, why would you vote for him? And then what's really shocking people is Trump is one of the first presidents to actually act on what he's saying. Like he said he's going to do this, and that, and he's doing it. And it's getting real now. Because once you send the Marines, boy, they ain't playing no games. This not no police officers. These Marines, they about that, yeah, for real.
But 56% are not sold on the approach he is using to carry it out. CNN's Kyung La is on the ground in Los Angeles for us now with all the latest on how Governor Newsom today is firing back against Trump's actions.
They come for one. They come for all.
Calm following chaos in downtown Los Angeles. A peaceful protest not far from LA's City Hall.
Hey, hey, hey!
And a strong police presence near the federal building. All of downtown is.
And what's wild to me, they got their flags up on American soil. Huh? You got your flag up on American soil where you then wanted to come over here in the first place and be here. That's crazy to me. That's crazy. You might as well just go back over. You might as well just go back. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but it hurts my head. That's like me fighting to get rights to go into Russia. I go into Russia and then I start protesting and going rampant and putting up the American flag in Russia. You think they gonna go for that? Boy, it's gonna be a bad day for you, for real.
Has been declared an unlawful assembly area after hundreds of protesters took to the streets in this part of the city, clashing with local law enforcement and the National Guard. The protests sparked by local immigration raids like this one unfolding across Los Angeles.
That's fucked up, look.
Witnesses too afraid to speak on camera watch and film as Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested street vendors at gunpoint. Outside the LA Coliseum, the site of the Olympic Games that will be held here, some protesters violently pushing back against these raids on Sunday, burning cars, defacing buildings. National Guard troops fired back, blasting tear gas and pepper spray. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass blaming the unrest squarely on the Trump administration.
If immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night.
And saying the unrest escalated after hundreds of California National Guard troops arrived on scene Sunday, deployed by President Donald Trump, overriding city and state leaders. California Governor Gavin Newsom saying in a post the president flamed the fires and illegally acted to federalize the National Guard. California's Attorney General added the state plans to file suit over the order to send in the troops.
They did so without authorization from Governor Newsom and against the wishes of local law enforcement who were on the ground.
It felt like fuel for a fire that was unnecessary.
I mean, you're not in control of your city. Your city's literally getting burnt down to the ground. What did you expect?
It was 100 people. 27 people were arrested. There wasn't a reason for this. That is the concern.
Trump posting that he made a great decision sending in the Guard, saying otherwise Los Angeles would be completely obliterated.
The people that are causing the problem are professional agitators, they're insurrectionists.
And what you're looking at live is this crowd. This is a new protest that has sprung up in just the last hour or so, and it is on the move in Los Angeles. We are in downtown Los Angeles. We're walking with this crowd, and something that I want to point out, Jake, is that this is a very different crowd than the one you just saw in my story. The group that you saw in my story was a union-led protest, a mix of people who are familiar faces in Los Angeles, union leaders, older people, families. This group that's on the walk, definitely not that. So the question will be is what is law enforcement going to do now as this group is starting to walk and move through Los Angeles, downtown Los Angeles, with a goal that I can't quite ascertain from the walk that we're looking at. But it's a sizable crowd, as you can see.
All right, Kyung La, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Kyung La on the streets of Los Angeles. With us now, Democratic Congresswoman Nanette Berrigan of California. Her district, in her congressional district, includes a community of Paramount, which is just south of Los Angeles. Some protests flared up in Paramount this weekend. Congresswoman, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. So yesterday, you spoke with CNN's Dana Bash on State of the Union. You acknowledged that not all the demonstrators have been peaceful, and you said, quote, those are not the people that are coming out to protest immigration. So who do you think the people who are not peaceful are? Are they outside agitators, as President Trump says?
They definitely could be. We've certainly heard some could be anarchists, people who are looking for trouble. People are just, you know, in the evenings looking for some trouble to make. So I don't think those are the people that are out to protest the mass deportations. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing people angry that you're having mass deportations happening in Los Angeles after months of seeing this administration send ICE agents to hospitals to wait for women to have labor, sitting there in the Labor Department to separate their kid and try to deport the mother, to schools to take kids, and of course now just rounding up people. There is no targeted enforcement. We know they're going to like Home Depot lots to look for people who are looking for jobs. They're not criminals, and that is the outrage that you're seeing. And I think that if ICE left, I think if the National Guard left, you would see this all die down. There is a way to do immigration enforcement. It's been done before. This is just the president's way to escalate things, to cause tension, and I think really to distract what's happening in Washington on all the failures, whether it's the economy tanking, whether prices going up, whether the millions he's going to take away from healthcare. This is the master in a show, and this is what he wanted.
I want to get to that in a second, but just in point of fact, you said they're not criminals. If somebody from the Trump administration were here, they'd say they may not be violent criminals, but if they're in this country illegally, they're criminals. You say that deportations can be done or immigration enforcement can be done peacefully. What's the way to do it peacefully if not raiding places where undocumented folks are? I mean, the position of the Trump administration would be, if you're not in this country legally, you shouldn't be in this country. I mean, that's what they would argue.
And this is a misconception that if you're in this country legally, that you're a criminal, because it's a civil matter. It's not a criminal matter. But there's a way to go after people. We've been doing this forever, and that is they know where the serious criminal offenders are, and they send folks out to get them. They don't just go massively round up people.